Hi everyone, it's Monday night. Welcome to Stamping with Denise. Thank you for being patient. We'll give a second here for everyone to find us and join on. I'm gonna pull it up on my iPad too. Okay. Well, again, I want to thank everybody for being patient. Sorry I'm a few minutes late. Kind of had a last minute conference call for a professional reason I had to be on. It was supposed to last a half hour, and you know how those things go. So I want to thank you for your patience. I have kind of a fun project for tonight. But before I go any further, I want to make sure that you know that please share my video, and when you do, comment shared down below in the comments, because I can't always see who shared. It tells me maybe I have 10 shares, but I can only between the comments and the people I'm friends with see 5 of them. So 3 people I don't get entered into the drawing to win the project. So I really want everyone to have a chance, so please make sure you comment share down below when you share, and I do appreciate that you do that. If you recall, last week I made this card, kind of a wreath card using the Stamparatus. I enjoyed making that a lot, and I'm going to probably make a few more of those. And you know, something like that might make a cute Christmas card with a different stamp. I'll have to look and see what I can find. But our winner from last week's video was Shannon Jenkins. So Shannon, I'll be getting that card out to you. Okay, so I've got a little, I don't have a card today, I've got a little bit of a project. So I'm going to go ahead and put the phone up in the holder, and we'll get started here right away. Okay. Again, I hope everybody's having a great summer. I can't believe August is here. Summer is my favorite season, and I just hate that it means that summer's going to be here shortly. So let me see here. Get that. Oh, I moved that the wrong way. Doggone. Again, because I had this last minute requirement, I didn't quite get set up exactly what I wanted to. Okay, I think we're good. So tonight we're going to show you this cute little notebook that I made. You know, it's getting time for craft season. Maybe you do craft shows, or you need little gifts or thank you gifts, things like that. And I just thought this was really cute. It's a little locking notebook. Look at that. Isn't that cute? Now, there was a demonstrator that I saw this. She had gone on the incentive cruise and had been inspired by something she saw on the cruise to make a notebook using this little locking mechanism with the butterfly. Hers was totally different, though. Her notebook opened from the top. So I had to, while I used the, basis of her project, I had to do all the math, for this one. And you know what it's going to, whatever little notebook you might use, you're going to have to figure out the measurements for yourself. You use a little bit of scrap paper and figure it out. This is the notebook I used. I bought these at the Dollar Tree. I think they were 3 for $1. So they're not very expensive. The one thing, this has the rounded corner. I think it would have been a little nicer if it had a squared corner, just because, it would have looked nicer in this little cover, for lack of a better word. But you know, it's not a deal breaker. So, and because I was dealing with black binding on this, I decided to pick a designer series paper that would go with that black, okay? So that's why I chose this designer series paper from the Magnolia Lane paper pack, okay? So, I'm going to go ahead and get started, and we'll walk through this. Like I said, this was a bit of an engineering project for me, because while I was watching her video, I was having to adapt all of the measurements to the project I was working on. So, this designer series paper, this piece here for this notebook is 3 1/4 by 4 1/2, okay? You can see I'm going to adhere it. I'm going to have to trim it off just a little bit. So for this, you definitely want to use something that's got a little bit more hold power. So I'm going to use Tombow glue. I have a little bit of a love-hate with Tombow. It's a great product, but I think for this project and this application, it's a better option than tear and tape, okay? Because it gives you just, you know, gives you a few seconds to kind of move it around and get it set right where you want it. So I'm going to either line it up, I think I'm going to line it up at the top here, okay, and down this side. Oops, see I can move this here a little bit. There we go. We'll give that a second to just dry and kind of secure. And then I'm going to trim this up. You know, I could have cut it. I was trying to keep the measurements somewhat easy. I didn't want to get into 1/8 and 1/16 of an inch. And plus I was going to have to trim this corner anyway, because again, like I said, my notebook has a rounded edge versus a square edge. Square edge would be much easier, okay? So, and I'm just having the edge that I trim off at the bottom rather than the top, because I just figured it'd be a little less noticeable. Okay, there you go. Step 1's done. Okay. So, then I chose Petal Pink because that's the coordinating pink in here. Chose this for the cover. And we are going to, let me put this out to the side. I'm going to use the scoreboard to score this to go around. And again, like I said, it was some trial and error. I used some you know, some scrap paper, and then I still ended up wasting a couple pieces of cardstock. Remember, I use the soap, the old soap, and it helps it slide a little bit. So this base Petal Pink is 4 1/2 by 8 1/2 inches. I'm going to score it at 3 1/4, 3 1/2, 6 5/8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 7/8. Okay, and see, this is one, and that's one of the things when you have your notebook, you have to figure out what, you know, how much do you need. This is like obviously the thickness of the book, so you need to kind of figure that out too. And remember, we fold it toward the hills, the mountains, which kind of seems counterintuitive, but that is what we do. So, when you're picking out your designer series paper too, you also want to pick something out that's the right scale for the item, you know, that the design's the right scale for the item you're working on, okay? So, okay. Now when you put this together, let me look at my, here. Okay. Your small end is gonna go in first, and then the longer end is gonna go on top. And there we go. Okay, that's perfect. So I'm going to adhere the pink to the back of the notebook, okay? So again, we're going to get out our Tombow. It gives us a chance to move it around a little bit and make sure we've got it positioned just right before it dries. Again, for Tombow, less is more. I'm going to put this right up against this edge, but not on it. Let's see. Fold this over. You want, you know, you saw me before, I kind of dry fit it to make sure it worked. And so I'm doing the same thing, folding it over. So we know it's in the right position, and there we go. Okay. Second part's done already. It's pretty easy. Okay. Now we're working on the black piece. This piece is 3.5 by 4 1/4. I gotta make sure here. Yep. Okay. Down the long end. I gotta get my scoreboard out again here. I should have done that before. I'm going to score this at 3 and 3 1/4. There we go. Again, going to fold toward the hill. We're going to burnish it. Same way here. Okay. And this then will be attached like that. You can see it'll open like this. So that tells me we need to, but before I attach it, I'm going to go ahead and do my punching. And since this is going to be punched out, I'm going to kind of mark the center from side to side on this piece, kind of eyeball it. And well, you know what, so much for eyeballing it. Let's see, this part here is 3 inches, so 1.5, so right about there. So that just helps me to do my use my punch. So I'll use the classic label punch. We're going to be using 3 punches today. So now I'm going to center that then, kind of. I don't want to center it on this line because this is not center top to bottom. That's just my side to side. So we'll look here. It looks like top and bottom. I am pretty even here. So I'm going to punch that out. And there we go. And next punch I'm going to use is the detailed trio punch. We're going to use 2 of the punches on here. We're going to use the corner rounder. Now I like to see when I'm punching, I like to do it like this to make sure I've got my piece seated right where I want it. Because it doesn't, seems like I always screw it up if I don't do it, if I don't watch it, because you know I don't get it quite in there where it needs to go. So, try to get the extra pieces out. Well, it'll come out later. Then I'm going to punch the little corner decorations. This is really easy, and I think this is would be a great little thank you gift, thinking of you, that kind of thing. those out of the way there. It makes great confetti if you need to make a shaker card, I guess. Too. Okay, so this we are going to, and I always look at my prototype, make sure I'm putting everything. We're going to glue this, just the back on. I'm not gonna glue the sides. I'm just gonna put glue on the back part right here. Okay. Again, Tombow. There's no snail in this project. As you know, snail wouldn't really hold. And again, for those of you that joined late, thank you. Please, if you would, it would help me out a lot if you would share my video, and please, please, please make sure you comment that you shared so that you get a chance to win tonight's project. Okay, so I'm gonna put this on like this. Kind of wrap that around. That looks pretty centered. And there we go. We are almost there. My punch didn't do a real good job. I'll clean that little piece up a little bit later when we're off camera. Okay, the next step is our butterflies. So we are going to stamp we're using the butterflies from the Butterfly Gala. I know there's another butterfly stamp in the catalog, and I don't recall the name of it, but it also fits with the Butterfly Duet Punch. So I'm just going to ink this up. There we go, I got that good. Again, because we're using photopolymer, we're going to stamp on a foam mat. I give it just a second for the ink to soak into the paper, and there we go. I'll let that dry for just a second. And hang on, I left my Wink Estella. I had a class, I've got a table set up for class, and my Wink Estella is over there. Let me go grab that. I'll be right back. Who doesn't love Wink Estella? We'll use that here. Okay. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to punch this out before I stamp the butterfly's body. And I'll tell you why. If I stamp the body before I punch it out, I don't get the body put in the right place, and I end up having to redo it again. So, save the little small butterfly. One of these days I'll have a project for all those little small butterflies and be able to use it. Okay, use all of them. So again, I'm going to put the little butterfly body on. See, now I can get it centered right where I want it. If I stamp it before I punch it, I screw it up every time. So, okay. So that's dry. I'm using the Petal Pink blends to color this in. And just for the ease, I'm coloring everything in. Let me get a piece of scratch paper. In light. And then I got a couple areas I'll go over with the dark. But since light is light, and I think I might have to order me some new blends here. They do last a long time. Okay, so I'm gonna do that side. So, and if you're late joining, let me see. The winner of last week's project was Shannon Jenkins. So. And all the measurements for the paper, at least for this, using this notebook, will be below the description. Okay, now I'm going to take the dark one and just color in a couple of the areas. The way I figure, if I'm coloring it over with dark anyway, starting out with a light base isn't going to be a problem. So put this here. I'm going to do that. Oh yeah, I want to do all these little dots here. And the dark Petal Pink. Okay. And I'm going to do this here dark, this part here. You know, it's really however you want to color it. Whatever paper you wanted to use. There we go. I'll let that dry for just a second. And remember that a lot of times you gotta watch. I've smeared ink when I've used my Wink Estella, so I'm always very light with it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go over the parts that I colored it the darker. Give it a little bit of glitter there. And give that a second to dry. There we go. My ladies love Wink Estella. I have one lady that brings her Wink Estella with her to almost all of my classes, and which I think is funny. I'm so glad she's found a product that she likes. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to kind of fold this butterfly, the wings of it, you know, from either side of the body. Do it like this. Like that. There we go. Okay, and again, I'm going to use some Tombow glue. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on that butterfly and put that butterfly right there. And then we'll have to hold it for just a second. For those of you that aren't demonstrators, there are some really super cute things in the holiday catalog, the Stampin' Up! Holiday catalog this year. I got notification from Stampin' Up! Today that my order shipped. Yeah, hold on. Okay, try this again. Put it right back in the same spot, just oriented the right direction. There we go. Use this point. There we go. Okay, I'll let it set for a minute. Then you'll notice I put some pearls on there. And you know what? I used these Share What You Love pearls. They retired in the catalog, you know, with the last catalog. But you know what? I had them and they were the exact right color. They're Petal Pink. But you know what you can do? You can take our regular pearls that we have and color them with the blends. Did you know that? Yeah, so really you can have pearls in any color. So I just decided, well, I had these left, I would go ahead and use these since these were around. But you know what, I would have just as easily colored them with my blends. So just put and I just think it adds a nice little touch between this and the Wink Estella. So, and there we go. How's that? Butterfly's no worse for wear since I had to take him off, put him back on. And there you go. And like I said, the lady who made the one that I cased, hers opened up, her notebook opened from the top. So really, it was pretty much the same thing, just oriented that way, you know. And so she cut punched the paper that way, and it opened up that way. So whatever little notebooks you might have around, You can adapt. You just have to do a little measuring, a little trial and error. Probably took me about 20 minutes to figure out all the right measurements. So very good. I hope y'all like this project. Please again, share my video. It helps me out a lot. Comment that you shared it, because I'd love to send this out to you next week. But I can't do that if you don't let me know you shared. So again, thanks for joining me, and I will see all of you next Monday night right here at 8 o'clock Eastern for Stamping with Denise. Y'all take care and have a great week. Have a crafty week. Okay? Bye now.